What's up, everybody? It's about 9:30 on Tuesday, November the 12th, and this is just the evening podcast. I'll kind of go over some of the stuff that I discussed this morning on on the podcast. If you didn't tune in, and by the way, the video that I did yesterday, I got the copyright claims taken off of it. I just had to take out the video of the TR3B. But so I talked a little bit this morning about the deal going on, the Asia Pacific deal. I talked a little bit about that and what's going on in the Middle East, and that Turkey took a bailout from China, and Turkey taking a bailout from China. I think it was last month, and then in order for them to do that, the deal is that they make is if we bail you out, get you outside of the grasp of the tariffs from the U.S., then you have to help us open up. You have to help us open up trade routes. Well, that came out this morning that they signed a deal, and of course, our president is not too happy with that. Also, there was a huge car pileup today. I don't have the article on it, but if you guys want to go over and check out Dabu 7, he covered that story. So, as of always, always be careful while they're out there. Has been loss of life due to the inclement weather. So, you guys be careful out there. We talked about the Facebook is pretty much they're pretty much illegally breaking into, or they'll probably say it's because you allowed permissions or whatever on your cell phone in order to get access to your camera, but it was discovered that your camera is running and filming everything while you're on your Facebook app. So there's just another infringement on your privacy there. So I talked last night about it was a 2-hour stream. And it just happened. Me and another guy went back and forth and was talking about different topics on there, but you guys can go check that one out. It's last night's podcast. But if you've never tuned in here before, this is the Kingsman Report. It's the news everyone ignores. I basically just go over the news. I give my perspective on things, what I believe will happen, putting two and two together. But I read a lot about what goes on, mainly in the Middle East, because that'll be a catalyst for the rest of the world. I cover a lot of surveillance, technology surveillance, infringements on people's personal rights, things of that nature. And like always, you're welcome to call in. The number scrolling at the bottom of your screen, 1-408-638-0968. And you can also chat on all the platforms there as well. And also, YouTube's going through their normal crap that they're pulling on people. So smaller channels like this one's probably going to disappear because I just started it. So this not only streams on YouTube and my personal Facebook page, it also streams on Periscope, Twitch, and DLive. In case this one goes down, I'll still be on those. I'm not doing this for any monetary anything like that. It's basically just to get this stuff out here, so that people become aware of what's going on, and if we team up together as the masses, there may be things that we can do to alter these different things, like the infringements on our rights. You know, last night we talked about vaccinations, and I played a clip from a doctor on there where she tells you straight up that you know, the stuff that we're putting in our body is actually poison, cancer, glyphosates, aborted fetus tissue. I mean, she went into the whole spill, but like I said, you guys could check that out. It's on all those pages I just mentioned. It's also on the YouTube channel. They gave back that, but yeah. So I talked about, you know, this morning, the world's largest trade deal. It could be signed in 2020. So this is important because I just mentioned, you know, China bailing out Erdogan after he received tariffs from the United States, and that the trade routes are being opened up. I did a whole video on all this stuff, trade routes being opened up from China through the Middle East up into Russia, and that's, you know, I scratch your back, you scratch mine type of deal. Well, now you have all these countries that are coming together, and looks like they're signing a deal here called RCEP. It involves 10 countries. Its trading partners in this will be Australia, China, Japan, New Zealand, and South Korea. And you can look for Erdogan and Russia to be clearing the way for trade routes to run through the Middle East into Russia and other countries. So this is what's going on, and you know, I told you that they're building up alliances, borrowing money, opening trade routes, building alliances, and I think all this purpose is to devalue the dollar and bring a global economic stability to to Asia, Russia, Middle East, and they can get more independence away from us. And obviously, like I said, Trump's pretty fed up with it. But one thing that just came up, and this came out not too long ago. So it says, and this is from CNN, it says U.S. has surveillance video of a possible war crime by Turkish-backed forces in Syria. I'm not going to play the video. I don't want to get a copyright strike. But it says, as President Trump prepares to welcome Turkey's President Erdogan to the White House on Wednesday, two U.S. defense officials tell CNN that the U.S. military is in possession of at least one drone surveillance video, which the U.S. believes captured a possible war crime being perpetrated by Turkish command fighters in Syria. The existence of the video was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. One of the officials cautioned that while the video appears to show a possible extrajudicial execution of a detainee by Turkish-affiliated fighters, they said it does not represent conclusive proof of Turkey's culpability in a war crime, in part because of the quality of the video and the absence of additional information about the circumstances being shown. U.S. officials have repeatedly said that it's possible Turkish-backed fighters in Syria carried out possible war crimes as part of Ankara's excursion aimed at targeting America's Kurdish partners in the fight against ISIS. Certain names I won't say on here. A lot of them I do, but certain ones I won't. It says one senior official described the Turkish proxy fighters as thugs and bandits, and the U.S. defense officials told CNN last week that several pieces of information on potential war crimes have come to the attention of the U.S. authorities in recent weeks. A senior State Department official provided reporters Tuesday with additional details about some of the incidents carried out by Turkish-supported opposition troops or forces that the U.S. government is looking into as potential war crimes. And they will. I mean, they're looking for the fuse to light the powder keg over here in the Middle East, and by any means they're going to try it. And I'm honestly surprised that it didn't happen when Saudi was hit with the the drones. I don't know why. I mean, well, I know why. It's to protect, our interest, that being oil and our American dollar, which you got to go back and research the pact that was made between them and our country that they can't sell oil to any, or they can't accept any other currency besides U.S. dollar whenever they're selling their oil as an export to other countries, and that's what gives our dollar strength, is those oil exports over. And then in return for that, what we do is protect their oil fields. So that's a whole deal. You guys have to look that up. But that's the reason why they're an ally, and we protect them, and presidents before us have protected them. Obviously, our interests are in commodities and not necessarily casualties of war. So it says one of those is the October 12th shooting of Kurdish civilian and politician Hevron Khalaf in her vehicle during the opening days of the Turkey-Syrian excursion. The official said. Says her death sparked outrage among U.S. officials as she was seen as a major positive influence in northeast Syria with regard to peacemaking and reconciliation. There was another incident that involved an individual that was filmed by members of one of the TSOs being executed as the individual was on the ground with his hands tied behind him, the official said. Using a U.S. government acronym, she referred to the Kurdish or the Turkish proxy forces. There was one report of chemical weapons, specifically white phosphorus, being used, the official said, adding that they had seen several examples of people, medical units and such, being hit by shell fire and such. The official said the number of instances has not been growing, and reiterated that it is not a quote-unquote large number of incidents. I mean, these are horrible incidents anyways. It says, we are asking the Turks to chase them down. What the Turks told us said they do not take them seriously, the official said. They added that the Turks told them that they have passed the ones committed by the Syrian National Army to the Syrian National Army's defense minister, and that they have set up a commission. The Syrian National Army is the name Ankara has given its Syrian proxy force. We don't know these people particularly well, and we don't know how well they're going to do. As far as we're concerned, our interlocutor on these things is Turkey, because Turkey has been supporting these people, and Turkey took the initiative to go across the border, the official said. A Pentagon spokesperson said they wouldn't comment on the purported internal or intelligence reports. We remain concerned by reports that Turkish-supported opposition forces may have engaged in violations of the law of armed conflict in northeast Syria. We request additional information from the government of Turkey given their support to these groups, and have requested a firm Turkish commitment to prevent violations of the law of armed conflict, they added. He says the government of Turkey has informed U.S. officials that they take these allegations seriously, and they are investigating the circumstances surrounding these actions. The United States has urged Turkey to pursue this matter with urgency and to be transparent in any investigation, the spokesperson said. According to the State Department official, the special envoy for Syria and the global coalition to defeat ISIS, Jim Jeffrey, discussed investigating credible reports of violations of the law of armed conflict in meeting with senior Turkish officials in Ankara last week. So, I say this all the time, but keep an eye out for an attack that will be probably done by via proxy. And then that'll be the fuse that lights the powder keg that will kick this thing off over here. Before or after it goes into, before or after they get their, trade routes and import-exports situated with the whole RCEP deal signed today. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen or not, but we shall see. So, So what I do is kind of just go over this stuff and and see if I find interesting articles in the evening time. I pretty much, I get alerts on different things throughout the day, and I kind of just, if they're interesting, then I read them with you guys. So this one's out of the Times. It says, Como threatens National Grid, provide gas or lose your license. It says the governor and the utility have been fighting for months over proposed pipeline and memorandum on new gas hookups. It says Governor Como and a utility that provides gas to New York City and Long Island have been locked in a standoff since May, when the New York regulators blocked construction of $1 billion natural gas pipeline that would have run from Pennsylvania to New Jersey and New York. The utility National Grid says pipeline The utility National Grid says the pipeline is crucial to meeting the rising energy demand in the region and has imposed a moratorium refusing to activate gas hookups for both new and returning customers. It says on Tuesday the fight took a sharp turn after Como threatened to revoke National Grid's license to operate in the southern part of New York. It says in a letter, Mr. Como accused the utility of mishandling its gas supply system and recklessly disregarding its obligations as public utility. When it issued their statement, it says the utility's fundamental legal obligation was to plan and provide for future needs. The governor wrote, "You failed by your own admission." And National Grid, which supplies gas to 1.8 million customers in New York City and Long Island, said it would review Mr. Como's letter and respond accordingly. We continue to work with all parties on these critical natural gas supply issues on behalf of all of our customers in downstate New York, the utilities said in a statement. So here's their whole arguing, back and forth stuff here, but seems like all of them are trying to go after the commodities or threaten commodities, gas companies, electric companies. And it's in a way, I believe, so that the government can gain control of these things. I'm just going through this, see if I can find anything breaking or... I have to be careful about what I use, because people are so people get so upset about the copyright stuff. So you know, I've been talking about that this idiots fighting over that stupid chicken sandwich. You know, one guy cut another guy in line, and the guy that cut the line got stabbed by the guy who he cut in line. He got stabbed to death. Well, they caught him. And this is an older article, but it says suspect in the Popeye's chicken sandwich stabbing identified and charged with murder. It says McLean, 30, is facing murder and assault charges for allegedly fatally stabbing a 20-year-old Kevin Tyrell Davis at a restaurant in Maryland. No chicken sandwich is worth your life, or even cutting in line for... These people are ruthless, man. I seen one of the other guys that body slammed that ignorant, racist, old, you know, white lady in a parking lot. I think he was charged also with assault. I mean, this stuff is insane. But it says the suspect was identified by police Tuesday in connection with the fatal stabbing outside of Maryland Popeye's location in a fight over the chain's wildly popular fried chicken sandwich. It says McLean, 30, is facing murder and assault charges for allegedly stabbing 20-year-old Davis at a restaurant in Oxon Hill outside Washington, D.C. on November 4th, according to the Prince George's County Police Department. The suspect was identified by a police officer who saw a surveillance image from the Popeye location and recognized McLean for previous investigation stops. And the department said Tuesday. It says McLean allegedly got in a verbal argument with Davis after the younger man cut in front of several customers waiting to order food. Sources told police the line was designated specifically for those who are waiting to order the restaurant's in-demand chicken sandwich, according to NBC Washington. It says Davis was stabbed after the men stepped outside where the alleged fight continued. Authorities who responded to the scene administered first aid to Davis until an ambulance arrived, but he died a short time later. It says McLean is facing charges of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and reckless endangerment. Over a chicken sandwich, man. Just dumb. No, I think this one is out of our state, but it happened in Florida. So this came out this afternoon. I'm not going to play the video, but and this, hang on. Some of you may, because people tune into this from all over the place, but some of you guys may have heard about this. There's a town that's west of Tulsa. I can't remember just how far west of Tulsa, but not too far. A town called Manford. Apparently, the police chief and another police officer from his department went to Florida, where they were doing a like a conference, and I think it had something to do with like child endangerment or something of that nature. Well, apparently they got into, or they got intoxicated, got into a scuffle. The hotel employees were called and told them they needed to calm down. And then later on that evening, they were called back up there. They're actually fighting, and then the police chief was found dead and the other officer arrested. And now it's made headlines all over the place. But the article here says, "Stop it. Witness finds Oklahoma officer sitting on top of police chief he's accused of killing." Now, I haven't read this article, but I've read some of another article. It says, an Oklahoma police officer accused of killing his police chief was allegedly found sitting on top of the victim, while witnesses said they heard screaming coming from the room, according to an arrest report. Manford Police Chief Lucky Miller, who held the role for 12 years, was pronounced dead at a Hilton Hotel in Pensacola, Florida, on Sunday night, according to a report from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office released Tuesday. Michael Neely, one of Miller's officers, was charged with second-degree murder in the case. It says, officers saw that Miller's face was beaten and his right eye was completely swollen. The report stated there were no other injuries to his body. It says when officers confronted Neely, who was transported to a local hospital for evaluation, they say they observed that his right hand was swollen and red. Neely was not able to provide information as to what happened, according to the report. It says one witness told police that he was responding to a noise complaint and heard grunting noises before knocking several times, according to the report. The witness then entered the room for a welfare check and saw Neely sitting on Miller, who was lying on the floor, the report stated. He allegedly had to pull Neely off of Miller, which prompted Neely to hit his face against the floor and left him with injuries to his nose and lip. Other witnesses said they heard commotion coming from the room, including one man who said he heard someone making a roaring noise and a man yelling, "Stop it, Mike," several times, according to the report. There's the letter that was released from the city of Manford. From what I understand, this guy was real awesome in his community. Both of them, from what I understand from reading another article, that they were really good friends. I mean, it's tragedy all the way around. Manford police did not respond to ABC News for comment Tuesday, says the city's mayor, Tyler Buttram, said in a statement, "We are heartbroken by the news. Please keep both families in our prayers as we work to move forward." It was not immediately clear if Neely had retained legal representation. His mugshot has not yet been released because under Florida law, when law enforcement is involved, the state does not always release a mugshot, according to a spokesperson for the sheriff's department. Miller is survived by his wife and 3 children. Freaking sad. So this article is 2 homeless men in California were attacked by a man armed with arrows. It says police in the San Francisco Bay Area are on the hunt for a man who allegedly injured 2 homeless men by using an unknown weapon to shoot arrows at them. The Saturday morning attack left 2 men impaled with arrows, according to the East Bay Regional Park District Police. The alleged arrow shooter was riding a purple Cannondale bicycle near the homeless men's encampment in Richmond, near the San Francisco Bay Trail, at the time of the attack, police said. The men whose identities were not made public were taken to the hospital and underwent surgery, police said. They are listed in stable condition. Police said in a press conference that the alleged suspect, a black man in his early to mid-20s, about 5'6" and 130 pounds with athletic build, was an acquaintance of the victims. Police also described the alleged suspect as clean-cut with short curly hair, brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a gray or blue heavy jacket with white fleece in an old blue backpack. Sorry about that. So I just got an alert. It's probably about 5 minutes ago, but it says this is coming out of Roar Intel on Twitter. It says it looks like things are about to kick off again. Intercept reported in Kerman Shalom, and there's a map, so it looks like they're starting to shoot more missiles over, and it's the 13th there, so yeah, it looks like they're starting to shoot more missiles off over into Israel, which I covered that this morning. A bunch of other guys I think covered it too, but there was over 50 rockets shot from Gaza yesterday into Israel. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that, but Breaking news from Middle East is starting to go a little crazy. It says Justin, 7 killed, 7 injured as car bomb in Kabul there. Afghan Interior Ministry government spokesman. It's constantly. But I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I mean, it's a Tuesday, not a whole lot of people. A lot of people are busy and stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I'll probably come back on tomorrow. I'm gonna continue to watch, unless something just absolutely crazy happens, then I probably won't be on here. But I'll be back in the morning and I'll broadcast. Yeah, there's a bunch of tweets going off right now. Now they have an IAF aircraft is now above Gaza. They just tweeted that out, so I'm gonna keep watching this and see what happens. Unless something extreme happens, then I won't be back on until tomorrow, and then I'll probably cover more of the stuff tomorrow. But if you guys end up watching this, thanks for watching. Like I said, YouTube's changing a bunch of stuff come December 10th. This channel is just starting off, and there's not a whole lot of people on here. So if you're on YouTube watching this, then I'm gonna end up going over to Twitch and DLive and using some other streaming services aside from YouTube, since they're jerking everybody around. But you guys have a good evening, and until next time, y'all bless.